Hello fellow humans! So good to see you again, thank you for coming back. This week we are making a few meals in a keema pie inspired by a pinch of nom, a garlic chicken balti, also going to be making a miso hummus which is from the Weight Watcher app. That sounds really yummy. I took Sebastian to the arcade yesterday, arcade club, and on the way there I'd worked out in the morning and then I made my smoothie. So it has yogurt in it, nut butter, protein powder, almond milk, frozen banana. And as we got there, it was just opening. And I thought, oh, I'm not gonna drink it now. I'll wait until we come out. Left it in my car. And yesterday, even though it was a very cold biting wind, we had quite nice sunshine. And the sun was shining in the car. We were in there for about 2.5 hours, and then I drove home and put it in the fridge when I got back. Now, you're probably screaming, this is not good to drink this. Don't drink it. Don't drink it. I won't waste things. I've actually had 2 bouts of food poisoning before from rice because I've just thought, oh, I'll be fine. I'll take it to work, it'll be all right. I know, yeah, it's 3 days old, be fine. It's not, is it? Put some ice in a glass and I thought, oh, it'd be all right. It's not even being that warm. Spring here, you know, it's quite cold. Poured it in, had it with the ice, tasted fine. And then all afternoon and night, I had such a bad stomach and I just felt bleh. So that was our Saturday. I got all this stuff out ready and then I just said to Paul, I don't think I can make it. I'm feeling a bit off. I'll do it tomorrow. So here we are. I did think, what would I like to eat? Something that's really like quite nutritious, but it's so good. And hummus was the first thing I thought of. I thought, yes, I love a piece of rye toast with some hummus. I first thought, oh, I'm gonna make like a caramelized onion hummus. And I like that idea, but actually when I looked on the Weight Watcher site and this miso hummus came up, I thought, oh yeah, that's really nice and salty. And I could always add some sriracha because sriracha is spicy, but it's also sweet. Or a little bit of just like chutney on the top if I want to give that sweetness. And the miso will be really salty. So that's exactly what I fancied. I thought that'll be good, building me back up. And also, last night, after last night's tea, Laurie had fish fingers and there's this lone fish finger site. Now, I'm a beggar because this has been sat out all night and I'm planning on eating that shortly. I'm a danger to myself. There's this fish finger, I'm gonna have that for my lunch, warmed up because I can't bear to throw it away. And then I'm gonna have the miso on a nice piece of toast. Thing was as well, yesterday, I was looking all pretty because I had all my makeup on, and then today, not so much. But I feel like I've aged so much in the last 4 months. My skin had become really dry, it lost all its luster, it had gone like a grey colour. Even though I sort of get spots and things, I'm usually a bit oily on my skin, it had just changed completely, and I thought, oh, it's age, you know, losing all its natural oils and elasticity. But then, last night I had a revelation. For the last 2 or 3 months, I've been using the Elemis apricot toner. I've been using that every night on my face, and afterwards I thought, actually my skin's really dry after I've done this, so I think it's that. So if that is the case, oh my gosh, I'll be so pleased because that's an easy fix. So I haven't used it last night and then I haven't used it this morning, and it does look a lot more shiny. I've just got sun cream on my face today and some lip oil, but it's looking miles better already. So I'm gonna get shut of that Elemis toner. I don't think my skin reacts well to toner, maybe, or maybe I've been overusing it. I will go back to using, is it micellar? Is that how you say it? Micellar water? I'm gonna go back to using that. I just get that from Primark. Maybe it's not that. Maybe I'm throwing Elemis under the bus and it is just age. But I'm hoping it is that. Let's crack on. We're gonna first do the keema pie because that needs to go into the oven. And we're going to move on to the balti. The balti is super quick because it's going to be using Patak's Madras paste. Now, if you've seen this channel before, I love Patak's. That is so flavourful, and yes, you're paying points for it if you just use an array of spices. So you could use your garam masala, your cinnamon, your ginger, your ground coriander, everything that would go in a curry, your curry powder, and you could just be putting like a teaspoon of each in, and it will be 0 points. And you'll be getting all those benefits from the spices, and that is a good thing. But Madras spice paste from Patak's, absolutely excellent, worth the points in my opinion. And the whole recipe, it's only 3 points per portion with the Patak's, so that's fine. I know you've got to put some rice or a little mini naan bread with it, but still, I'm happy with that. And as well, how easy is Patak's? You don't have to buy all those spices if you don't have them in. You're only using half a jar for an extra couple of points, I think. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. So that's going to be dead easy. As I mentioned before, the inspiration for the balti and the keema pie has come out of the Everyday Light Pinch of Nom cookbook. If you don't know their slimming recipes, I've got all the pictures on the bottom here. So that's a picture of the balti. Sometimes I up ingredients of some ingredients and lower others, or miss them out completely, replace them. So, but the inspiration is from this cookbook. This is quite a good cookbook. I have quite a few like low calorie cookbooks. I have a couple of the Weight Watcher ones, a couple of the Pinch of Nom ones, and vegetarian cookbooks because they're really hearty with the vegetables, and I can use those recipes and then add a bit of meat for Paul if he wants it, or for me. It's easy to just add meat to something, isn't it? If you've made a base, like a ratatouille or something, you can always add a little bit of chicken or a little bit of, steak or something to that. I'm having a cup of hibiscus tea. I've heard that hibiscus is youth-giving. Okay guys, let's go. We're starting with the keema pie. You will need 750 gram pack of lean beef mince, an onion, 3 carrots, half a teaspoon of garlic paste, 2 teaspoons of garlic granules, 3 tablespoons of tomato puree, 2 beef stock cubes with 450 millilitres of boiling water, the juice of half a lemon, salt and pepper, and then for the topping, we want 250 grams of sweet potato. This was a very large one and I've chopped it in half. 800 grams of regular potatoes. I'm using Morris Piper. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and again, salt and pepper. First of all, let's get our potatoes on to boil for the topping. These take the longest. I did try and chop my regular potatoes a little bit bigger than my sweet potato, as sweet potato takes less time to cook, so I chopped those a little bit chunkier. Pop those on to boil, and then I was very distracted by watching the Duchess having her winter coat taken off. She was very giddy. Paul was brushing her and then just giving her a good rub down to try and get all the hair. She has been molting like mad. The change in temperature, she's getting ready for summer. She's now a summer pup. And Paul was giving her a good brush. She does not like to stay still. Back to the potatoes, they just go on to boil until they are tender and ready for mashing. I then sprayed my frying pan with Fry Light and added the beef to brown. I then chopped the onion and diced the carrot to add to the pan. Once in the pan with the browned mince, we then added the 2 teaspoons of garlic granules, a teaspoon of ginger paste, 2 tablespoons of curry powder. I'm using the mild Madras curry powder here, and the 3 tablespoons of tomato puree. I gave this a good stir and allowed to brown for 10 minutes before adding my squeeze of half a lemon. I should squeeze this over my hand. That's what Jamie Oliver does, and he catches all those pips. I then made up my stock and added this also to the pan. Simmered this for 20 minutes to ensure that my carrot was cooked through. By this point, the potatoes were ready, so I took those off the boil, drained and then seasoned. Also popped in that half a teaspoon of turmeric and then gave them a mash. I found that the mash was quite dry, so I did add a couple of drops of skimmed milk just so it had that more mash texture. I'd rather have it a little bit smoother. Minced meat mixture into the casserole dish and topped with the mashed potato. That can go into the oven for 30 minutes to brown on the top and just to warm fully through. I then moved on to preparing for my chicken balti. So I had 7 garlic cloves here and 3 small onions. I'm just using my new handy gadget here for taking the skins off. As this garlic and onion is going to be popped into the food processor with our madras paste, it doesn't need to be finely diced, just chop chunkily and then pop it into a frying pan to soften. In addition to the 3 small onions, which you can substitute for 1 regular size onion, and the 7 cloves of garlic, we're also using half a jar of the madras patak curry paste, 3 beautiful peppers, and I've got a a rainbow of peppers today. Tin of chopped tomatoes, a stock pot. Now this is just to be made up in 150 millilitres of boiling water. I've gone for this vegetable one. I got it in a subscription box. It's a spicy vegetable stock pot, and I thought, when am I going to use this spicy vegetable? So this is the day. But you can just have a regular chicken oxo cube or a chicken stock pot. I've pointed this recipe up with using one of these stock pots because these are 2 points. You're going to need some lime juice. Now you can just have a couple of limes. I haven't got any limes in at the moment, so I am using this lime juice concentrate, which I'll use a tablespoon of. And then for the chicken, I'm using chicken mince, 500 grams. I am really liking this background music today. It's giving me the TV show White Lotus vibes. Sliced my pepper into nice big chunky strips. I'm then going to pop my softened garlic and onion into my food processor along with my madras paste and my tablespoon of lime juice. Give that a good blitz, and then we're going to marinate our meat for an hour. Now, even though this is a super quick recipe, the flavour of the meat is enhanced by being marinated. So I am just leaving this to one side for 1 hour, but you can leave in the fridge overnight. Whilst the chicken is marinating, I'm just going to get on with the hummus. A tin of chickpeas, 80 grams of miso. Now 80 grams of miso seems quite a lot. I'm going to add what I've got. I've got about 50 grams. I'm going to add that. But the recipe does call for 80. So if you want to add the 80, you can. Use my other half a lemon. A teaspoon of garlic granules. These have been useful today. A teaspoon of sesame oil to get that toasted sesame taste. The recipe does call for ginger. I don't want ginger in my hummus. No, that's a step too far for me. So I'm not putting ginger in. It also says chopped coriander, fresh coriander. Now I haven't got any fresh, but I've got the frozen variety. I used this in a recipe recently and it's from Iceland. It's great because you get a full bag. And when you get fresh herbs, sometimes you don't use them all, but this is fantastic. You can just get out as much as you need, and it's always in your freezer. Almost forget you need a tablespoon of olive oil as well. Now, there are lower point hummuses. You can get a 0 point hummus, and it doesn't have the olive oil. I've made it before with like Philadelphia Lighters cheese and chickpeas blended together. There's loads of different ones. A bit of oil. At the moment, I'm trying to get some good fats in. I'm all right with that. And it's only 1 point per serving for this hummus anyway. That's absolutely fine. So a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going for the extra virgin olive oil in this one. Right, let's chuck all this in the food processor. I've given my food processor a clean now after my curry paste. Let's get all these things in. Let's get them blitzed up. Let's get eating it. That's the main thing. Let's get eating it. After tasting it, usually I have to really heavily season my hummus because obviously it's chickpeas and things, they need a good season to bring the flavour out. Don't need to do that with this one because of the miso. I just tasted it, I thought no, doesn't need no salt. So I'm just going in with some pepper. I've left it a little bit chunkier. I'm going to plate that up now. I'll show you my lunch and then we'll get back to that chicken balti. Here is lunch. So I toasted a piece of rye bread. The rye bread, I like it super toasty, so it's crispy with the soft toppings. I popped the hummus on with some onion chutney and then sprinkled with some hemp seeds. This would also be great with flaxseed, and then had a blood orange alongside. Just before I start on this chicken balti, I've just had my lunch, and as I was having my lunch, I did put this lady on. Who is it? What's she called? Mary's Nest. I don't know if anybody's seen Mary's Nest. She's very informative. She's doing a beginner's guide to making kombucha. Now, my friend gave me a SCOBY. Book club was round at her house on Tuesday, and she gave me one of her SCOBYs. Now, SCOBY, if you're not sure, is what you make kombucha with. It looks like an organ, like a piece of tripe, and you ferment your tea, you put tea, sugar, you put your SCOBY in, and it makes this fizzy kombucha drink. You can add fruits to it. I've never done it before, and that's why I'm watching this informational video.
Now what you're going to need to make kombucha is a gallon-sized jar, any gallon-sized jar. This is a glass jar. You're going to want 8, as I said, black tea bags. You're going to need your SCOBY. And you're also going to want a cup of sugar, and you're also going to want 2 cups of previously made kombucha.
She's very calming, isn't she? I feel like she's the opposite side to this channel, where we're all very loud and we're very slapdash, and she looks like she knows what she's doing. I would listen to her for sure. So I'm going to give this a go. She's saying you need some kombucha already. I have some kombucha, but it's canned kombucha. I need to have a good listen through it. Also, her water comes out of a borehole and then it's filtered, so it isn't mains water. So it doesn't have all the chemicals in that your mains water does. So she's given me a big demijohn of water as well. So I'm so lucky. She gave me the demijohn, the water, and the SCOBY. Oh, she's a good one. She's set me right up for a good kombucha journey. I'm gonna have fantastic gut health before I know it. Back to the balti. Marinated chicken into the pan and cooked through, then added my peppers. Now the dish I am using on the stove is also compatible with the oven, and that's why I use this. However, I could have done with a larger pan. Hey ho, I made it work in this very small pan. I then added my stock and my chopped tomatoes, gave that a stir, and then bubbled with the lid on just to reduce and intensify the flavours for 20 minutes. Okay, that chicken balti is now on. It's just gonna bubble on the top, covered up, for about 15-20 minutes. and then that will be fully ready. How quick was that? We've got our keema pie, we've got our hummus, and we've got our curry. So I'm going to tidy this kitchen. I feel so much better after eating and having that hummus. I do feel a little bit better, and I'm really excited to get going on this kombucha. The boys have actually gone out, they've gone to an air rifle shooting lesson for an hour. So they've actually left, so it's just me and Stella in. I'm gonna get all this tidied up, nice and tidy, have a brew and get on with the kombucha. So I'll check back in with you then. Wasn't feeling the cooking this week, to be honest, but all done now, all sorted for the week. So let me go through what I'm going to do for this kombucha. So I've watched a couple of videos now while I've been cooking, and I've also read a few things, and my worry was that I didn't have a starting tea, because you're supposed to take 2 cups of the last kombucha you made and save that for your next batch, and you need that for the fermentation. I had one website saying you should never ever use vinegar. Another one saying you can use vinegar if you haven't got the tea. It's controversial. I thought, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do it today. But I can, because when I've looked at my scuba, I got this on Tuesday at my book club. Then I put it in the fridge that you're not supposed to, because it can kill it, or it can create mould on it. I've got it out now to get it back to room temperature, but there's already some liquid in there. So that's my starter tea, isn't it? I don't need to worry about it. It's contained in the starter tea. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it looks a bit gross, to be honest. Some sort of organ in formaldehyde. This big demijohn that she gave me with her borehole water in. I've brewed a cup of tea. It did say not to brew it for too long. I had some loose leaf tea, so I've just brewed that, strained it, and now that's cooled. We're gonna need a full cup of sugar, and we're good to go. That's it. And then I've cut up this tea towel that I had, just cut up a little piece of it. I'm gonna put that on the top. I brought a couple of bubbles down from upstairs. I'm gonna put that over the top. Let's get this SCOBY started. I'm really nervous to start. Right, so let's take the lid off this. I hope it doesn't explode as either. Well, oh, the lid comes fully off. It's not a peel one, which is good. In goes my tea. That is just black tea. They've said to use black tea and not other forms of tea. Also, your tea must not be flavoured in any way. I've just used English breakfast tea. I'm going to use the end of a wooden spoon to give it a stir. All the videos I watched were American. American cup is slightly less than a UK cup on here. So let's go for a full cup of sugar. Can't really get away with any less sugar because the SCOBY does need to eat it. This is the SCOBY's food, so we need to go in with all that sugar. Oh, that made a nice sound, didn't it? Okay, Paul's ringing me now. We're gonna just have to leave him hanging while we get this. This SCOBY is too important. This SCOBY is the love of my life. Right, so we're gonna give that a stir. He must be on the way back now from the air rifle shooting. He sent me a couple of videos. They look like they were having a great time. It's only room temperature, this water. As I was watching these videos, they were talking about SCOBY hotels. So you should have a hotel for your SCOBY when they're not in use. So I love that idea. I'm gonna sniff this. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it doesn't smell so bad. It smells like vinegar. Oh, are we ready? Go on, SCOBY, my man. Are you a boy or are you a... Oh gosh, you're like a piece of liver. Like a pancreas. Fantastic. Good job, Scobes. Wonderful. Now all I do, if the YouTubers are to be believed, is pop that on top. Let's get a band. Seal it. And I leave that for 12 days. Like that, while that SCOBY eats all that sugar and ferments. I think the next bit might be a little bit more difficult. I think you put a little bit of fruit in each bottle. Paul's going to bring me some glass bottles home from work. It says they should be special fermentation bottles, otherwise they might explode. I don't have special fermentation bottles, and he's got some glass bottles. And I thought, well, surely I can just burp them every day. So we may have an explosion. Oh, explosion, it's all going on this channel. So after all that excitement, I thought the other day I actually filmed on my walk. This is really random. A lone Christmas tree in the middle of a field. The sun was out. It looked beautiful. I thought, I'm gonna film this. I'm gonna put this on the channel, even though there's no real context to it. So after all that excitement, I know you're up here with it all because it's just the excitement. We're buzzing, we're buzzing. We're gonna bring it back down now. We're gonna get a nice calm. Gonna get me really, really calm. I'm gonna look for that Christmas tree in the middle of the field. It's lonely. I hope somebody puts lights on it in the winter time. That'd be amazing. So I'll show you that footage now. Are you nice and calm now? Nice big breaths. Cut to 12 days later. So I'm about to bottle up this kombucha. Let's get this nice big fat SCOBY out, and he has grown a lot. As you can see, there's sort of a second layer on the top that can be separated off and given to somebody else to make their own kombucha. Gave the kombucha a good stir, releasing any sediment, and as you can see there's already been a little bit of fermentation and it is slightly fizzy. Drained off a cup of the kombucha and then popped that in with my SCOBY for the next time. I've now popped that in the fridge. Apparently the fridge stops the fermentation, so it will stop trying to grow and eat the sugar now. Got my bottles from work and I made 4 bottles. I added a little bit of elderflower cordial to each bottle for the sugar so that it could continue to ferment, and I left these on the top for 4 days and then I popped them into the fridge and started drinking them. As I had heard on some YouTube videos that if you leave it too long it will taste of vinegar, so I didn't want to risk it. So my best way to enjoy it is I have half a glass of the kombucha topped up with some carbonated water. I'm really enjoying it like that and it is so delicious. We're just about to eat up now. I'm actually having the keema pie, which is at the back here, but Paul fancied the curry, so we've got the curry on as well. I've done some rice, obviously batch cooked that rice as well. I've got some peas on to have alongside my keema pie. And I've plated Paul's up. Here's Paul's. He's got the rice and the chicken. The chicken curry is just 3 points per serving. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks so much for watching.